Psychic-type Pokemon have some of the hardest hitters in all of Pokemon. Especially in earlier generations, they were generally known for being glass cannons, meaning they hit like a truck, but if you breathe too hard, they will crumble. So I decided to see if I could beat Pokemon Brilliant Diamond using only Psychic-type Pokemon in a hardcore Nuzlocke. Here are the rules that I'll be using, so just pause the video if you want to have a read. Also, I'll leave them in the description. We start our adventure and we need to pick a starter Pokemon. I decided to grab Chimchar as it will play an important role in helping me catch my starter Pokemon. Also, picking Chimchar will eventually give Barry Empoleon, who resists Psychic type moves. Now that Barry has his starter Pokemon, it's time to get mine. I head to Route 203 and I spend some time running around in the grass until I come across an Abra. Now Abra is usually a problem to catch as this will just teleport away. However, Chimchar learns Taunt at level 9, meaning he can't use Teleport, allowing me to catch it after a few Pokeballs. Once caught, I name Abra Gumball and we continue on. Unfortunately, Abra does not know any attacking moves until it evolves, and it's not usable against Rourke. So I send in Monferno to take out all of Rourke's Pokemon with a few punches. After the fight, the level cap has increased, so I can evolve Gumball into a Kadabra. I throw Monferno in the PC and we can now officially start the run. We have our first encounter with Team Galactic and... Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it! Did you get into a fight with a lawnmower? But seriously, what's with these haircuts? With Team Galactic dealt with, we head to the next city and we have a wonderful conversation with this couple. Oh my god, it's a Mew and a Jirachi. As amazing as it would be to grab either a Mew or a Jirachi, playing with a mythical or legendary Pokemon makes the game too easy. So in the box they go. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, could you do me a favour and hit the like button? Also, if you're not subscribed and you like this type of content, click the red subscribe button below and you won't be disappointed. Our first big challenge is Commander Mars, who has a notorious Nuzlocke killing Purugly. I did some calculations which led me to slaughtering the entire Budew population to get those special attack EVs until I get to level 20. At level 20, I can now comfortably two-shot Purugly, and because of my inner focus ability, I won't flinch from a fake out. We take on Mars and her Zubat easily goes down to a super effective Confusion. She brings in her Purugly and I hit it for well over half with Confusion as planned. But I make a stupid mistake as I forgot to take into account her Oran Berry. Gumball gets hit hard with a Thief and I'm about to lose to this stupid fat cat. But Gumball has no intentions of losing and lands a big critical hit, taking out Purugly and beating Commander Mars. With Commander Mars beaten, we head to Eterna Forest and we meet up with Cheryl, who wants someone to guide her through the forest. I slap on a repel and we breeze through the forest safely. Now that we are at Valstone City, we get access to the underground, courtesy of this guy. We head straight down and I spent some time running around here. Eventually we come across a Ralts, who is a rare encounter. I catch him and I name him Jeff. Now that I have two Pokemon in the team, we can head to the second gym. Gardenia leads with Cherubi, who Gumball can take out with a couple of Confusions. Next is a Turtwig, and he also falls to a couple of Confusions from Gumball. Her final Pokemon is Roserade. Confusion does hit Roserade hard, but it lands a Stun Spore on Gumball, paralysing him. Roserade goes first as I'm paralysed, and a Petal Blizzard almost takes me out. Thankfully, Gumball fights through the paralysis and is able to finish off Roserade with a second Confusion, beating Gardenia and giving us our second gym badge. We have our first run-in with Cynthia, who gives us a TM that we'll never use. We also now have a big fight coming up against Commander Jupiter, who has a Skuntank that is immune to psychic moves. But before I take her on, I grab another encounter who I forgot about. After a short time, I run into a Meditite. She is caught and I name her Poppy. I then train up Jeff until he evolves into a Curlier. With that all done, we head straight on to take on the Commander. Her Zubat is easily taken out with a Psybeam from Jeff, and now her ace Skuntank comes in. Skuntank hits Jeff with a poison gas, but I planned for this and Jeff is able to recover with a berry. Jeff then lands a big hypnosis, putting Skuntank to sleep. Jeff then hits Skuntank a few times with draining kisses, getting him to half health after citrus berry recovery. Skuntank then wakes up and uses poison gas on Jeff, which lands. However, on the next turn, Jeff survives a flamethrower from Skuntank and then is able to take it out with one last draining kiss. With the second commander taken care of, we can now continue on and find another encounter. It doesn't take long before we run into a Bronzor. Bronzor is caught and named Milk. As we pass through Mount Cornet, we get our first glimpse of Cyrus, who apparently just walks around looking angry 24/7. Somebody give this man a Snickers. After being told that my Pokemon are not cute enough to be let out of their Pokeballs, Barry ambushes us into a battle that he most definitely regrets afterwards. Jeff is able to easily take care of all of Barry's Pokemon one by one, giving us a dominating win. Next up is Valstone City, and this is where we get access to some of the best TMs in the game. I pick up some overpowered moves for my Pokemon, and I also get some spares as they're so cheap. So I decide to look for my next encounter, and I run into a shiny Geodude. My shiny luck has been insane lately. Unfortunately, it's not a psychic type, but I catch him and I name him Gold, and I put him in the box with Mew and Jirachi. Then soon after, I do run into my usable encounter, Girafarig. Girafarig is caught and is named Bread. We now have a choice on which gym challenge to take on first, as they both have a level cap of 30. As I have a psychic team, it made sense to take on Maylene first and then go for Wake afterwards. Maylene leads with a Metatite and I have Gumball out. Gumball takes out a Metatite swiftly with a single Psychic. Next is Machoke, and this thing also has no hope surviving a Psychic from Gumball. Maylene then brings out her ace Lucario, and Gumball hits it hard for big damage with a Psychic. Lucario then decides to throw the fight as it goes for a bulk up. This allows Gumball to follow up with another Psychic to get the KO. Maylene is now defeated and we get our third gym badge. As we make our way to Crash Awake, Jeff gets to level 30 and evolves into a Gardevoir. With Jeff fully evolved, we can now take on Wake. Wake leads with a Gyarados, but Jeff can simply one-shot it with a Thunderbolt. Quagsire is next, and Jeff almost takes it out with a single Psychic. However, it goes for a Rain Dance, allowing Jeff to take it out on the next turn. Floatzel does do decent damage with Aqua Jet, but Jeff responds with a Thunderbolt, which easily takes it out. Wake has now been defeated, and it gives us our fourth gym badge. We head outside, and we overhear a grunt talking about blowing things up. I go to follow him, and Barry thinks it's a good idea to battle first. Really, Barry? I decide to give Bread some love, so I use him to take out Barry's Pokemon. Like before, they all drop one by one until Barry runs out of Pokemon. Barry for some reason is surprised that he's lost, but he pays up and we move on. We get to the entrance of the lake, and Cynthia gives us a secret medicine. We take the secret medicine to the side ducts and they move on. Cynthia then decides she wants even more favours from me, so she asks us to deliver the old charm to her grandmother. Clearly she knows that my character's simping for her, as we apparently just agree to do anything. We get to Celestic Town and we run into a grunt who thinks he should just blow up the town because it's insignificant. Listen, I'd be mad too if I had a bold cut like that, but blowing up a town for no reason may just be a tad of an overreaction. After taking him out and literally saving the town, we can now prepare for our next gym badge. We do some preparations and Milk evolves into a Bronzong, which gives our team some defensive balance. Okay, why is everyone in this game just so angry all the time? Get a load of this guy. We finally get to Fantina, the ghost type user, and begin the battle. Drifloon uses Strength Sap on Bread, which is useless as I'm a special attacker. Bread then sets up with a Calm Mind, raising my special attack and special defense. On the next turn, Drifloon uses Fly and goes up, while Bread uses another Calm Mind. Bread then gets hit with a Fly, doing decent damage, but then goes for an Agility to double his speed. From here, Bread takes out the Drifloon with a Psychic. Gengar comes in, but I outspeed and I take it out with the Psychic. Last is Erase Mismagius, who takes 2 Dazzling Gleams to take out. Fantina has been beaten and we get our 5th gym badge. Once again, Barry stops us for a battle. Also, I just noticed how nice it looks battling under the stars in this game. I lead with Jeff, who can take care of business easily. Saravia goes down to a Thunderbolt. Jeff also Thunderbolts Prinplup, who surprisingly hangs on, but does go down to a second Thunderbolt. Roserade has no chance and is destroyed by a Psychic. Ponyta is also taken care of with a single sidekick. Last is Barry's Heracross, but one more sidekick from Jeff seals the win over Barry. Before we head on to take on Byron and his steel types, I do some more training and Poppy evolves. We get to the gym and the battle begins. I lead with Poppy and I go for a fist plate boosted high jump kick on Bronzor, but it survives. Bronzor then lands a Confuse Ray and my plan has just gone out the window. Byron then uses a full restore, healing Bronzor back up, and Poppy is able to land a Drain Punch to get Bronzor below half health. I decide to go for one more Drain Punch and thankfully I don't get confused and I take it out. Steelix is next and for the third time in a row I don't get confused and I land a big Drain Punch. Steelix then goes for a Sandstorm, which is fine. Poppy snaps out of confusion and then takes out the Steelix with a second Drain Punch. Last is Byron's ace, Gastrodon. Poppy brings it down to Sturdy with a Drain Punch, but then it gets some recovery with a Berry. Bastion wastes his turn by going for Iron Defense. This allows Poppy to follow up with one more Drain Punch and secure the win. Byron gets down on one knee and then he gives us our 6th gym badge. Our next stop is Valor Cavern, where Commander Saturn is waiting for us. He leads with Kadabra, who sets up a Reflect, reducing physical attacks. Milk then goes for a heavy slam, but it still does decent damage. Commander Saturn then withdraws Kadabra and brings in Bronzor, who can eat a heavy slam. From here I switch in Poppy, who gets tickled with a payback. Poppy then takes out Bronzor with a couple of Drain Punches. Kadabra does come back in, so I switch in Milk. Kadabra goes for a Rain Dance, and Milk squashes him with a heavy slam, taking him out. Last is his Toxicroak, and I do big damage with a heavy slam. And for whatever reason, I thought Toxicroak was Park Dark type, and that's why I didn't go for a Psychic move. I switch in Jeff, who can clean up the mess and get the win over Commander Saturn. Next up is Commander Mars at Lake Verity. Her Golbat goes for Poison Fang, which does minimal damage. Poppy then counters with a Psybeam, doing a decent amount. Golbat then U-turns into Perugly, who can take a Psybeam well. Expecting a Fake Out, I go for Detect. However, Perugly goes for Aerial Ace, which could have been bad. From here, I decide to bring in Milk, who barely feels the attack on the switch in. Perugly then goes for a U-turn, bringing in Golbat, who I put to sleep with Hypnosis. On the next turn, I take out the Golbat with an extra sensory. Commander Mars then brings in her Bronzor, so I switch in Jeff. Jeff lands a Thunderbolt and paralyzes Bronzor, and then Bronzor responds with a Confuse Ray. I go for a Calm Rise to raise my special attack and special defense while Bronzor gets fully paralyzed. From here, Jeff takes out the Bronzor with a Thunderbolt. Perugly is next, and a couple of Draining Kisses gets the job done against Commander Mars. Next we have a harsh journey through the snow, so I decide to dress appropriately for the trip. We make our way through the snowy route until we reach the next gym. We slide our way through the gym and get to Candace, the Ice-type user. Candace leads with the Snover, who Poppy can take out with a single Drain Punch. Next is a Sneasel, who goes for a Hone Claws. This allows Poppy to easily take it out with another Drain Punch. Candace then brings in her own Medicham, who outspeeds and lands an Ice Punch while also getting the freeze on Poppy. I switch in Milk, who takes an Ice Punch in along the way. Medicham then goes for a Bulk Up, raising both its attack and defense. Milk then lands a big heavy slam, doing just over half damage to Medicham. I risk a crit and I stay in with Milk, who takes a big Brick Break and survives on just 6 HP. From here, Milk is able to take out the Medicham with a heavy slam. I then get hit by the hail damage and I'm brought down to 1 HP. Candace brings in her ace, a Abomasnow, and I need to switch Milk out. I bring in Jeff, who gets hit hard with a Blizzard on the switch. With no real option, I go for a Draining Kiss, which brings me to a healthy amount. Abomasnow goes for an Aurora Veil, making him even more tanky. I set up a Calm Mind and Abomasnow misses his Blizzard. On the next turn, I go for a Draining Kiss and I land a critical hit, taking it out. That battle was surprisingly tougher than expected, but I get the job done and I receive my 7th gym badge. From here, I decide to head back in the underground to find my next encounter, Mr. Mime. He is caught and I name him Kazi. We then make our way to the Galactic Headquarters where we can take on Cyrus for the first time. Jeff is the perfect counter to his team and can deal with all of them on his own. Murkrow can get taken out with a Thunderbolt, Golbat is next, and it also falls to a Thunderbolt. Sneasel is faster, but Jeff is able to handle it with a couple of Draining Kisses. And for whatever reason, Cyrus gives me a Master Ball after beating him. We continue on and we need to save the Pokemon. But before I can do that, I need to take out Commander Saturn. Jeff hits Kadabra hard with a Thunderbolt, and for whatever reason, Kadabra responds with a Rain Dance. Bronzor is next, and a Thunderbolt does just over half damage. However, Bronzor does land a Confuse Ray. I decide to stay in, and Jeff lands a second Thunderbolt, taking out Bronzor. Toxicroak is next, and one Psychic absolutely destroys it, giving us a clean win. I press the button and I set the Pokemon free. Next on the agenda is to stop Cyrus at the top of Mount Cornet. I do have a double battle with Commander Jupiter and Commander Mars to take care of first, and although this battle was not threatening, it was pretty tedious. After a bit of time, Barry and I take him down. Next is Cyrus, and he's looking pretty mad. Cyrus leads with Honchkrow, and I have Jeff out. Jeff sets up a Calm Mind, raising both his special attack and special defense. Honchkrow then hits hard with a Steel Wing, but I knew I'd be safe to a crit. From here, Jeff just takes over. He takes out Honchkrow with a Draining Kiss, which also completely heals him up. Next is Crowbat, who goes for a Tailwind. This allows Jeff to take it out with a Psychic without taking any damage. Gyarados is next, and will outspeed with a Waterfall thanks to Tailwind from Crowbat. However, Jeff takes it well, and then finishes off Gyarados with a Thunderbolt. Last is Cyrus's Weavile, who will definitely kill Jeff if I leave him in. I switch in Milk into a Metal Claw, which does laughable damage. From here, a Heavy Slam from Milk destroys Weavile and puts a stop to Cyrus's plans. Now we have to take care of Dialga to progress the story. I have no intentions to risk anything, so I throw my Master Ball to catch him. He then goes straight into the box with Mew, Jirachi, and my shiny Geodude. With the world saved, there is one more thing we need to do before we can challenge the Elite Four, and that's getting our last gym badge from Volkner. He leads with Raichu, and I have Brett out. Raichu goes for a Volt Switch, doing some damage while bringing in Ampipom. Brett uses Agility, doubling his speed. As expected, he goes for a Fake Out, which does big damage to Brett. I do know I'll survive a non-crit Thunderbolt from this thing, so I go for a Nasty Plot, doubling my special attack. He hits the Thunderbolt, but it doesn't crit and I survive. Brett then uses Psychic, taking it out in a single hit. Next is Raichu, and I easily outspeed and I take it out with a Psychic. Octillery desperately comes in to try and stop Brett, but it falls just like the Pokemon before him. Last is his ace Luxray, who also stands no chance and faints to a Psychic. We have now beaten Volkner and received our last gym badge. Also, while we're surfing on our way to Victory Road, the swimmers here act like weirdos once they've been beaten. With Victory Road promptly cleared, we ride a waterfall on a Bidoof to reach the top where the Elite Four awaits for us in their castle. But before we can take them on, Barry and his Pokemon need one last beating. At this point my team are all over level 60 or higher, which makes this a cakewalk. I lead with Gumball, who brings Staraptor down to its Focus Sash with the Shockwave. Staraptor goes for a U-turn, which thankfully misses due to the power of love, allowing me to take it out on the next turn with a Shockwave. Rapidash comes in next, and it leaves just as quickly after a Psychic. Roserade is next to go down to a super effective Psychic from Gumball. Barry then brings in Snorlax, who I know I can't one-shot, so I switch in Poppy, who takes a Crunch. On the next turn, Poppy uses a Drain Punch, absolutely destroying the Snorlax while recovering all her HP. Gary brings out his ace Empoleon early, only to be Drain Punched to its death. Finally, Heracross comes out, so I switch in Kazi, who can take it out with a Psychic. With Barry defeated for the last time, we can now make our way to the Elite Four. Our first Elite Four member to take on is Aaron, the Bug-type user. I lead with Brett, and I go straight for an Agility to raise my speed, while Dustox sets up a Light Screen to reduce special attack damage taken. Brett then sets up with a Nasty Plot, doubling his special attack. From here, I use Bat and Pass, and I bring in Jeff, who gets hit with a Toxic on the way in. Thankfully, from here Jeff takes over and starts plowing through Aaron's Pokemon. Dustox is first to fall with the Psychic, Beautyfly comes in, but a Thunderbolt swiftly takes care of it. Heracross could be dangerous, but it falls to a Psychic. Vespiquen also has no chance, and it falls to a Thunderbolt. Last is his ace Drapion, who is also zapped straight back to Aaron, giving us the win. Next is Bertha, the Ground-type user. I lead with Milk, and I set up with Stealth Rocks on the first turn, while Quagsire hits me with minimal damage using Surf. On the next turn, I put Quagsire asleep with Hypnosis, allowing me to switch in Bread. However, it made no difference as Quagsire wakes up on the first turn, and it hits Bread with a Surf. Knowing I can survive an Earthquake, I stay in and I go for a Nasty Plot. However, Quagsire ends up going for a Toxic instead, which misses. From here, I use Baton Pass and I bring in Kazi, who gets poisoned on the switch. From here, Kazi takes over and finishes off Quagsire with a Psychic. Next is Whiscash, who doesn't get a chance to do anything, and he also falls to a Psychic. Sudowoodo is next, but also crumbles to a Psychic from Kazi. Golan jumps in and he loses his sturdy thanks to the Stealth Rocks, allowing Kazi to finish him off also. Last is Hippowdon, and like the others, it doesn't stand a chance. Next up is Flint, the bootleg Fire-type trainer. He leads with Rapidash, who hits Milk with a Hypnosis. On the next turn, I get hit with a Flame Charge, doing good damage, but then I wake up and I put Rapidash to sleep with a Hypnosis. From here, I put down some Stealth Rocks to take care of that pesky Sash Infernape. Rapidash is still sleeping, and I set up a Reflect to reduce physical attacks. I switch in Bread, and Rapidash wakes up and does a Flame Charge. I then set up a Nasty Plot to raise my special attack, and then get an Agility to raise my speed before using a Baton Pass to bring in Jeff. Jeff now goes on a bit of a rampage and takes out Rapidash with a Thunderbolt. Next is Steelix, and even a resisted Psychic takes it out. Lopunny hops in, but then hops straight back out after a Thunderbolt from Jeff. Drifloon also has no chance and is Thunderbolted straight back to Flint. His last Pokemon is Infernape, and because of the Stealth Rocks, it goes down to a single hit, giving us a straightforward victory. Our final battle before the champion is Lucian, who is a rookie Psychic trainer in comparison to me. His Mr. Mime sets up a Reflect, and Milk does good damage with a Heavy Slam. Mr. Mime then goes for a Dazzling Gleam, which tickles Milk. Milk then responds with another big Heavy Slam. I decide to set up both a Reflect and a Light Screen to reduce future damage taken, before taking out Mr. Mime with a third Heavy Slam. Lucian then sends in Medicham, so I switch in Kazi, who can take a high jump kick well. On the next turn, a Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam takes it out. Girafarig is next, and we trade blows a few times before I switch in my own Girafarig. On the switch in, Bread does get hit with a Thunderbolt. I then set up with a Nasty Plot, raising my special attack, while Lucian goes for a Trick Room. Bread then takes another Thunderbolt well, and then sets up with one more Nasty Plot. On the next turn, Bread Baton passes to Gumball, who can take out Girafarig with a Shockwave. Next is Alakazam, and thanks to Trick Room still being active, we outspeed and we finish it off with a Shadow Ball. His ace Bronzong comes in next, and Trick Room has ended, so Gumball can outspeed and finish off this rookie Psychic trainer once and for all with a Shadow Ball. Last on the list is the champion, Cynthia. I lead with Milk and I set up a Light Screen. Spiritomb then responds with a Shadow Ball, but I take it well. I then switch in Bread for free as she goes for a Sucker Punch. At this point, Cynthia continues to go for Sucker Punches, allowing Bread to set up with Nasty Plots and Agility. Once fully set up, I Baton Pass in Jeff to take over. Spiritomb is first to fall with a vicious Thunderbolt. Her Roserade comes in next, but is easily taken out with a Sidekick. Gastrodon is next, but this thing can't do anything and falls to a Sidekick. The fan favourite Lucario comes in next, but it doesn't have a chance either and is taken out with a Sidekick. My Loadock, who is a problem for most people, is easily zapped straight back with a Thunderbolt. And last, but certainly not least, is a signature Pokemon Garchomp, who is destroyed by a Psychic from Jeff. With that, we are now the champions of the Sinnoh region while only using Psychic type Pokemon. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like and hit that subscribe button if you want more videos. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.